Leo, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly horoscope for the month of June. And there is a lot at play this month. We are in eclipse season, and we are having three eclipses instead of two this summer, which is a big deal. And we start the month with two planets out of bounds, which is also a big deal because it means that they're not playing by the rules. The planets exceed the sun's outer limits by declination, and Venus has been out of bounds since April 2nd and will be until July 1st. No, July 1st. And Mercury has been out of bounds since May 16th and will be until July 9th. And so they are more uncontrollable. And Venus is retrograding in your house of friends and groups. And when it's stationed retrograde on May 13th, it's stationed at 21 degrees of Gemini, and it's going to station direct on June 25th at 5 degrees of Gemini. And this is a very reflective period around what you value, what you love. We currently have 4 planets retrograde, so there are a lot of planets in review as to how we can, Saturn's retrograde, how we can structure our goals, Jupiter, how we can expand, Pluto, how we can transform. Saturn's retrograding in your house of relationships. It will re-enter your house of work and the sign of Capricorn on July 2nd, and will remain there until December 17th and re-enter the sign of Aquarius where it currently is. But with Venus retrograde, going back to the personal planet, that's a big deal because Venus retrogrades once every year and a half, and it retrogrades in the sign of Gemini and in your sector of friends and groups and networking and community. And that happens, the last time that happened was 2012. So, Venus out of bounds, Venus retrograde, the sun is transiting in your house of friends and groups. And the nodes of fate have just recently changed signs. They exited the Capricorn Cancer axis on May 5th, and they entered the Sagittarius Gemini axis, where they will be until January 4th of 2022. And the North Node of Destiny is where you're meant to go towards. It's where you're growing and learning and what you're meant to strive towards. And that's in your house of groups and community. Maybe you're forming a community of sorts. Maybe you're seeking your tribe. It's a great time for learning new skills. It's a house of enlightenment. It's alternative thinking, metaphysics, house of wishes. So a lot of planets and transiting there. The North Node will be there for a couple of years. The sun will be there until the summer solstice on June 20th. And then the sun will be transiting in your 12th house of spirituality and dreams. Now, I had mentioned earlier that Mercury is out of bounds. I just want to get back to that. Mercury entered Cancer on May 28th and is transiting in your 12th house of spirituality. That's the last house of the zodiac. It will be there until August 4th. And then it'll enter your sign of Leo. It'll come to your first house of new beginnings. But in Cancer, it's an emotional water sign. It's a cardinal water sign about taking action, but it's very emotionally based, very sensitive. And it's going to be retrograde from June 18th until July 12th. And it retrogrades at 14 degrees of Cancer, and it stations direct at 5 degrees of Cancer on July 12th. So that's a review period in all of this. It's going to be retrograde in eclipse season, and just bringing more, probably more mayhem to everything, but helping us also maybe to take action and reassess how we're taking action and process all that's happened too. But it's a difficult summer with this, and we're going to have to learn how we can morph into this new reality. And then with all these planets retrograde, we're also reviewing this historical year and this historical lineup of Capricorn, which permanently changed the world. And for you, that occurred in the 6th house of work and daily routine and habits, and how you do your daily routine, how you practice your self-care, and so that's where you're restructuring how you do your work. And if you're looking to network, to find new things to do in your work, if that's where you're restructuring your goals. Again, this is an excellent time for you to raise your social media presence in the next few years with the North Node transiting in your 11th house, and also even with Venus retrograde there this summer, because it's reevaluating how you can improve that area and again reconnect to old acquaintances and old friends. Lots of people from your past will resurface. And we have a Venus Mars square, Venus squares Mars in the sky on June 2nd. I keep saying July, but it's June 2nd. And that's not easy. Venus is in your house of friends. Mars is transiting in your house of wounds and intimacy, and that's a bit volatile. Venus is retrograde. So in existing relationships, that can be a bit difficult. And Saturn has retrograded in your house of partnerships too. So again, it's something, if you're in a relationship that's not working, that's going to probably become more pronounced this summer, because a lot is coming up again with eclipses making us see things with, kind of brings things to light, makes us see things in a way we've never seen them before. And a lot of change, a lot of major endings and beginnings happen in a very quick period of time, and sometimes very unexpected way. So there is a Venus Sun conjunction the following day, which is a nice aspect. It's a beautiful one about what you value. And that also falls in your 11th house of friends and groups and wishes. So, honoring that day and trying to do something creative. You're the most creative fire sign of the zodiac. So honoring that energy. And then on June 5th, we have the lunar eclipse. That's the first of the 3 eclipses. And that falls in your house of romance and creativity, the 5th house, which by traditional astrology is the Leo house. It's in a fire sign, which is very harmonious and works in tandem with you. But it's a lunar eclipse. Eclipses are very unpredictable, and it is squaring Mars directly. Mars is at 15 degrees Pisces, squaring the lunar eclipse that's at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. So again, it could be very romantic. Venus is squaring Mars, which is very passionate, although it can be very intense. Maybe you've reconnected with an old love. It's not the best time to get involved with somebody new during Venus retrograde, but when people do, it's often very karmic. So, see how that plays out for you. But a lot around relationships and reevaluating relationships for you, I think. And because your house of romance, your house of partnerships, and your house of friends are all very focused this month. And so that's where the lunar eclipse falls, squaring Mars. So knowing that people will be irascible with that energy too. And then later in the month, we have the sun in Gemini in your house of friends and groups, squaring Neptune in the sky. Could be a little bit confusing, could be that deception gets uncovered, could be a misunderstanding, could be very creative. And that's where Neptune is the higher form. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, trying to channel it that way in this very turbulent eclipse period. And then we have a total solar eclipse. So the summer solstice occurs in your house of the sun enters 0 degrees of Cancer. That's your house of dreams and spirituality. That's also the Pisces house in traditional astrology, and that's a creative water sign. So manifesting what you want, evaluating, or the sun stops for 3 days, reflecting with all these retrograde planets on what you want the summer to be and how you want to heal yourself and in this difficult time. And then we have that happens at 5:44 p.m. And then the total solar eclipse occurs at 2:41 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on June 21st, so very early in the morning. I say it's the solstice eclipse because it's really so close to it. And so that's a new beginning. Eclipses bring beginnings and endings, but both lunar and solar. But a solar eclipse is very much about planting seeds and setting intentions. So definitely do a ritual that day to honor that. And it's impacting the entire world. Anything at 0 degrees of a cardinal sign has world impact, and it's hitting all of us, people in the news as well. And it's in your house of dreams. And again, really, what do you want to manifest? So focusing on that, writing down intentions. And Mercury is retrograding in your 12th house of dreams and creativity. It will retrograde on June 18th at 14 degrees of Cancer, and it will station direct on July 12th at 5 degrees of Cancer. So again, a review period, again, a lot of memories resurfacing, things from the past resurfacing. Uh, Probably people that have passed over could come to you in your dreams, and if you need guidance, it's a great time to ask for that with I think Mercury retrograding in your 12th house. And we also have a, let's see, a very powerful Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that occurs on June 30th. And that falls in your house of work and daily routine and also being of service. And we already had one conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto. They met up on April 4th. That's opening up the portals of consciousness. That's very manifesting and transformative energy. And it's in your house of health and work. So bringing that manifesting, empowering energy. It's an excellent time, since you're doing so much around community and groups, to maybe have some kind of healing meditation with others, maybe a virtual healing session or whatever. But regardless, it is falling in that sector of your chart, and it is a very powerful energy. And it's a second, we have one final meetup of the two that occurs on November 12th at 22 degrees of Capricorn, again in that same house. And that'll be at the world axis, because 22 degrees of a cardinal sign is the world axis. And Jupiter and Pluto are setting off the Saturn Pluto conjunction that occurred on January 12th and changed the world. And for you, in your house of work and routine and your routines and habits. So I wish you a lot of luck, and thank you very much, Leo. Take care.